These loans have just not come through, and the businesses folded up and ran away with all the money.
Well, I don't agree with that, but I will tell you this, that our loans we've done very well with, and I guess if someday you want to spend it on discussing IDA, I'd be happy to do that.
We should talk about that someday.
Or you can help Bill Daly on.
Yeah.
But we've made out very well. We've actually made money on our loans, and yes, some of them are high-risk loans. But we have to use Southern Tier Brewery as an example. I mean, there's an industrial park. They built their building, and now they're expanding. Yes, there's one in Fredonia that turned a little sour.
Gobbled it up.
But those are chances you take. And I've been a businessman. I've never went through bankruptcy, but I've had some pretty lean years.
Yeah.
And anyone listening to this program that's in business today will know that you have good years and bad years. But yet, I'm proud to have been a businessman over these years, and that's why I look at things sometimes a bit differently than someone that's never ran or had the opportunity to run a business and have employees.
Well, cow business is not, it's pretty tough these days, they tell me.
It is, and the milk checks were up there pretty good, around $17 to $20, and their farmers' last advance check was $13.50, and that scared some people. There was an auction in Sherman last night, and I didn't have a chance to go, but I'm interested to see what the cattle did bring.
What do they do with them?
Well, this is a dairy farm, so they took them back home and put them back in their herd, started milking them, and so I don't know, but I'll find out how that
What happens to old dairy cows?
They go to the beef pen, and they're slaughtered for beef.
Just regular beef, or are they?
Well, generally a dairy cow is not your prime cut.
Yeah.
But for example, when we had a cow that we wanted to butcher, or a heifer that didn't get bred back, excellent hamburger, because it was lean hamburger, very tasty. So we'd always grind a whole heifer up into hamburger, and we had hamburger for a year or two.
Things have advanced tremendously in genetics. I remember in the old days, half the cattle that were born you didn't need. I mean, if you were a cow farmer, half the cattle normally would be males, and you can't use them, and vice versa.
And now they have sex semen, they can tell.
Right.
They breed their cows with the sex semen, so they get more heifers.
They don't test them and abort or anything. They just have the semen as
semen is genetically
just for male or female.
Yeah,
that's a clever little move.
Isn't that neat?
I wonder how they did that.
Well, I don't know how they do it, but it's available and it's expensive. But
but it saves a lot of hassle too. Well, the Chinese are they are allowing only one child per couple, and so a lot of them are pre-testing. And if it's a wrong, not a son, they want a son always. If it's a female, they abort it. And more of this is going on in this country too. People are pre-testing, and they find out it's the wrong sex. They just abort it and start over, try again. You don't have to do that with a cattle anymore.
Well, that's something I wouldn't be in favor of. But
no, well, a lot of people frown on this.
That's why we live in this country. Yeah.
A lot of people, as a matter of fact, I think it's against the law in New York State to do that. But how the hell do they know?
Well,
how can you tell?
Yeah.
Fred Croscut, what's your official role now in the legislature, Fred?
I'm just chairman of the Planning and Economic Committee and on the IDA board. And so I think, of course, I have the best committee. We have a very good committee made up of actually 3 Democrats and 2 Republicans, but we're very active. And this lake issue really fell together through our committee. And I'm looking forward to, as the summer progresses, to having all the agencies that work under our committee in for a report, because people like to know what's going on. And I like to keep them informed. Yeah, well, that's why I enjoy coming on this program and discussing things that we did at the last meeting and some of the things that are transpiring. So people may think I'm nuts, but I do enjoy getting out and discussing things with people.
Yeah, you don't have to do this either. You don't have to remember legislators. A lot of our legislators this year just quit and said the hell with it.
Well, that's
too much work. Not the pay is lousy, they tell me.
Here again, I was born and raised in this community and this county, and I intend to die here. And until I do, and I can make a difference, why I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Well, good for you, Fred, and that's why I also enjoy having you here, because you are refreshingly open. Speaking of refreshingly open, we did kind of glaze over the sale of our poorhouse, the hospital where our indigent seniors can go, which will no longer exist as such. I won't have any 84% Medicaid beds. You can bet your bottom dollar on that, or you can bet your bottom on it. But in the meantime, Fred, we never did get into that other tacky question, and that is the tax. The tax, we have a shortfall, how many $1 million?
We have about a $14 million shortfall
and
in next year's budget.
found lost money. We had lost 10 million, they say, and they found it. They said.
What you have to remember, a lot of this money comes back to us from New York State and different agencies, and sometimes it takes 2 to 3 years to get that to come back in. So it really wasn't anyone's mistake, because Darren Schultz did a great job, and now Sue Marsh is doing a great job. But it's once these figures are audited from the state, and you know what happens with the state, this is $10 million of found revenue that we didn't know we had. But we must keep that. Now, I'm saying we should keep it, but I just gave $50,000 away for the lake. Well,
yeah, I know.
That's to me one of the most important assets we have in this county, and that I voted to do that.
That's just a drop in the bucket.
That's really a drop in the bucket, but we must keep that money to offset that revenue. So you could say, well, now you've only got a $4 million shortfall. Well, it's still going to be a tough budget year.
They tell me that even 4 million could jump our taxes 20%.
It could, and let's just sit back and see what we bring to this program over the course of the next couple of months as we do progress into the budget, because definitely it's going to be a property tax increase, or it's a sales tax increase.
And sales tax is out the window, according to
well, it certainly appears that way, even though I supported a sales tax increase.
Of course, that'd be the easiest way to do it, but they won't let us do it on the state level.
You're exactly right. Senator Young has made it very clear. Andy Goodell's made it very clear. But would they do some kind of home rule legislation? Didn't happen this year, to let us go to 8% without applying to Albany. That is something that we're continuing to try to work on.
Try to do a side sweep, huh?
Well, not a side sweep, very openly. I mean, why not let the counties on their own go to 8% or 8.25%? And,
well, New York City is up to almost, what, 9 and something?
I think you're right. Yeah. But here again, that had to be approved through some kind of home rule legislation, I'm assuming through Albany.
Yeah.
And
well, of course, New York City controls Albany. So
well, you might say that,
Chautauqua
yes,
County, you know, half of Albany never even heard of Chautauqua County. They have no idea where we are.
But we're proud of where we live, aren't we, Reed?
We love it here.
People don't know what they're missing not living here.
Right, even though it's the highest tax county in the United States and getting higher. But in the meantime, we have many such benefits, such as especially the green fields, the woods, the good health, the good air, and the lakes. Oh my gosh, the beautiful lakes we have here, including the inland sea of Chautauqua Lake. I mean, of Lake Erie. Monstrous. Fred, what do? Do you ever go out in Lake Erie with your boat?
I never go out in Lake Erie with my boat. I do have a boat I put in at Prendergrass Point, and I go out in that. But here again, I've been so busy, I haven't had a chance to get it out. But I do. I go out, and my wife and I may run down the lake to the Rod and Gun for supper, or come up the north end and go to Lakeview. But I like to enjoy the lake also, and I have the benefit of a boat. And so I think if people live in this community, why they have the lake here, they have Bear Lake, they have Finney Lake, and so we're very fortunate in the scenery, and it's just a lot of good scenery, good fresh air, and it's recreation here.
We have the smaller lakes. Do they have the same weed problem?
Finney Lake is having a weed problem. I talked to Mr. Hemline and some people from Finney Lake. They've already used up a lot of their budget. That was one of the reasons, you know, one of the questions the other night. Well, what happens if Finney Lake has a problem?
Now, what do they do? They don't.
Well, they have their own weed harvester.
Oh, they do have.
Oh, they do have.
Okay.
And they have a good group over there. Another question relates to you, Westfield Harbor. Eventually, that's got to be dredged again. You know, here again, money for that. So there's plenty of things out there to do with the money, but we finally all agreed that we had to, at least enough of us agreed to put some money in stock.
Yeah, well, I see the feds did put some dough into Chautauqua Creek. They're putting a fish ladder there so that the fish can swim way up and reproduce.
And we have some federal funds at the agricultural level now. There's, I think, only 8 or 9 active farms around Chautauqua Lake, and we'll get more information on this. We're doing barnyard projects, creek crossing projects, so I just want to let people know that the agriculture community is doing their share too. Yeah,
well, they're giving grants for the grapes too. I mean, the grape harvest is going to be half at best of what it was.
And you know, the farm in DeWittville now, we're going to try to use that as an example, because Sally's leachate into the creek, and you know, proper farm practices are being done. And I think it's important for me as an agricultural person to get this out to the community too, because people think that there's a lot of agricultural runoff goes in from the tributaries. Well, there is some, but we've recognized that. And maybe we're not getting enough press out and to educate the public about what we are doing with our own fertilizers, with our own leachate runoff from our bunk silos, with our manure. we're doing our best in agriculture to help preserve that lake too.
Yeah, you're talking almost specifically of cattle farms, right?
Yeah, cattle farms.
Moo cow.
Yeah, yeah. What so I think is maybe we could do a better job of getting that kind of stuff out too.
Sure.
Because the watershed is big.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
I mean, you got
a lot of little streams going in.
A lot of little streams going in there. Yep, and so we're doing our best to do that, and this commission that's been set up is village and town officials. Each are going to help us with that project.
Okay, so we do have a little hope there anyway.
We sure do, but we need some state and federal funding to do that.
Yeah, and of course the state and federal funding is critical. God bless Kathy Young.
Yes.
I mean, she is giving, she has brought more money from grants to Chautauqua County than any other state senator in the history of Chautauqua County.
And Andy Goodell is up there banging the drum, and
yeah, he's going to back her up.
He's backing her up, and he's arguing with Sheldon Silver, and so he's not afraid to get in and get in a little dogfight. I love it.
Yeah, but he's very careful about dogfights with Shelley Silver.
Yeah, well,
because if you want to be able to park within 100 miles of the office building, you've got to be on his good side.
And I'm sure Andy told you that. He's used that example, I think, probably on this show.
He's got a pin with a huge thing on it. You know, your importance in the assembly is dependent on the size of your pin. If you're nobody, you get a little tiny pin. First year people like Andy, you know, you can barely see the pin. He's got a gigantic one. And he got it by accident. You know, he met one of the bigwigs, and the bigwig liked him, and says, Andy mentioned the size of his, and he said, well, here, take it. He gave it to Andy.
Is that right? So
Andy's a big shot now.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, well, over the legislature, do you have pins that you put on?
No, I don't have any pins from the legislature.
You don't get a legislature pin?
I don't have a legislature pin.
A little diamond or something on it? You know?
No, we don't go that extravagant in our legislature.
Well, zircon maybe.
Yeah,
you know?
well.
Okay, Fred Croscut doing the job. Fred, we're running down on time here, so I'm going to give you the last minute. It's all yours. I'm not going to interrupt you.
Well, no, I've actually got 3 minutes, but must be I got a minute. So.
No, see, I got to have 2 minutes.
Okay,
myself.
you got to have 2 minutes. I want to thank people here. I'm in the phone book. I'll be back here in a month or two, and we'll talk more about the budget. We'll know more about the county home at that point. Trust me, we're not going to leave these people out in the cold. That's not the intention. I think the lake issue, we're going to have to continue to work on that. We'll have another study out, but I'm proud to represent Chautauqua Lake, and I want to mention too that we're working with a welfare to work program. We didn't get into that. We're trying to increase our participation numbers. I know the Lake Association just hired a person full-time that was on the welfare rolls. So we've got a lot of things to talk about in the coming months, and I'll be back and we'll talk about these issues, keep you informed. And here again, if you've got any kind of concern and you don't want to call the show, call me on my home phone at home.
And number?
761-6645. Be happy to talk to you. I had a call last week, a couple of them.
Well, whenever I call your number, you answer immediately.
Well, yeah, I try to do my best. But thank you, Reed. You've got the next 2 minutes, buddy.
Well, thank you for showing up here, and Fred Croscut doing the job for us. And will you come back soon?
Yeah.
We'll find out what's going on with the hospital, the nursing home, and the lake, and more committees maybe, huh?
Yeah, more reports.
More committees.
Money reports, IDA stuff, lake stuff.
Okay, I just got this sound, Fred, that just came through. We're out of here. They're pushing us along. I want to thank all the people who called in and any other callers that couldn't make it. Fred's always here regularly. He comes in every few weeks and donates his time to the public. I want to thank all the callers who did call, and everybody gets $5 off at that beautiful little restaurant at the foot of the hill, the Lakeview. May all that is proud and true and noble abide with you on that very special day, the 4th of July. Try to remember there's some people out there who are kind of sad and lonely, and invite them over to your party. Give them a hot dog and have a great time. May all that is proud and true and noble abide with you. I'm Reed Powers.